Today, I'm unpacking the top 10 toxic tactics and traits of the female covert narcissist. Let's get into it. Hey friends, Tamie M, Joyce here, empowerment life coach, creator of the Freedom class and the Ascension class. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Please take a second to say hello and introduce yourself in the comment section below. And if you're back, as always, welcome back. Thanks for showing up and for tuning in. Either way, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when I post new videos throughout the week. So let's talk about the top 10 toxic tactics and traits of the female covert narcissist. Now, to begin with, you have to know that the female covert narcissist is a true wolf in sheep's clothing. She'll initially present as somewhat shy, meek, demure, and vulnerable even, soft-spoken and ever so thoughtful. Meaning, she will fully misrepresent herself. And because of that, you think you're dealing with one person, when in reality, you're dealing with another entirely. She'll show up disguised as being kind, loving, trustworthy, and integral, when in fact, she is none of these things. She'll often work really hard to convince you and everyone else just how good, kind, generous, and altruistic she is, when in truth, it's all an act, a performance, a complete mirage. None of it is real. She'll talk endlessly and post regularly on social media about all of her good deeds and philanthropic endeavors, and all of the good things that she's done for this one and that one and everyone else, including feeding the hungry and taking care of the homeless. Now, here's the thing about this. Healthy people don't behave this way. They don't need to do this. They can actually do a kind thing, a good deed, and leave it at that, without all the virtue signaling and feeling compelled to broadcast it across the internet or every time they open their mouth, looking for validation and recognition. A female covert narcissist, however, cannot help themselves. They literally need the hit of narcissistic supply that comes from the validation and recognition they seek so earnestly. Number 2, she is childish and incredibly immature. And one primary way her immaturity manifests, and usually pretty early on in the relationship, is in her expectation that you be responsible for her. Remember, when you are dealing with a female covert narcissist, what you are dealing with is a child, no matter how old she is or how good she may be at pretending otherwise. Fundamentally, she is an emotional child in an adult body. So, whether you're in a friendship, a romantic relationship, or she's a member of your toxic family system, either way, you'll be responsible for her feelings. You'll be responsible for her comfort. You'll be responsible for making and keeping her happy and providing for and meeting all of her needs, her legitimate needs, as well as those she simply feels entitled to. Meanwhile, what do you get in return? Well, not much, except for a whole world of mind-bending, crazy-making nonsense. In other words, pain, drama, chaos, and probably a whole bunch of abuse. In addition, being the entitled childish ingrate that she is, you'll also notice that she is never ever to blame or responsible for anything that goes on in the friendship or relationship. Nor is she ever to blame or responsible for any of her misfortune, in spite of the fact that it's crystal clear that she's actually the author and creator of her own misery, so-called bad luck, and the never-ending stream of drama, chaos, and crisis going on in her life. Number 3, she's self-conscious to the point of being neurotic, meaning she's emotionally unstable, irritable, anxiety-riddled, often depressed, and filled with self-doubt and other negative feelings. One way this manifests is in her deep concern with how the world sees her, how others perceive her, even complete strangers, especially complete strangers. She is fully preoccupied with what others might be thinking or saying about her. She is very concerned with the opinions of others, to the point of obsession and sometimes even paranoia. And she cares much more about appearances than she does reality. And it's this deep-seated self-consciousness that drives her hypersensitivity. And I do mean hypersensitivity. She is hypersensitive to any perceived criticism. Any perceived criticism will result in your having, accidentally or otherwise, inflicted narcissistic injury and thus inciting narcissistic rage. Now, with a female covert narcissist, you'll know that this is the case because you'll find yourself dealing with a very passive-aggressive sulk who is seething with bitterness and resentment. Now, comment below and let me know whether or not you've experienced any of these tactics and traits. And if so, how'd you handle it? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you're struggling with narcissistic abuse in any area of your life, you're likely an excellent candidate for my 8-week transformational coaching program, the Freedom Class. If that's of interest to you, there's a link in the description below this video where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. There's also a free gift section in the description below this video, so be sure to avail yourself of that as well. Number 4, conversations with a female covert narcissist tend to be circular and frustrating, leaving you feeling completely drained, depleted, and confused, which, by the way, is the point. The more you're trying to address something serious, work something out, or resolve a legitimate issue with her, the more this will be the case. You'll find yourself in the midst of circular, mind-bending, crazy-making conversations, and you'll always walk away from these crazy-making conversations somehow being to blame and feeling shamed and made responsible for just how let down, hard done by, abandoned, neglected, and betrayed she feels. No matter what she's done or hasn't done, or how appallingly she herself has behaved. Circular, mind-bending, crazy-making conversations is a tactic she'll use to shift blame and accountability away from herself and onto you. Don't fall for it. Number 5, she is deeply jealous and green with envy, although she'll work really hard to hide that fact. And she'll project her own jealous and envious nature onto you. For example, she'll just assume that you must have the same envious spirit that she does. So she'll speak to you and about you as if that's a fact. Furthermore, she'll compete with you, passively, subtly, but there will be a spirit of competition and uber defensiveness anytime she feels the threat of exposure, anytime she feels the threat of her own deep-seated feelings of inadequacy and inferiority are being triggered. And all of it will be projected onto you, and usually in the worst kind of way. Number 6, she's hedonistic. Delayed gratification is not something the female covert narcissist is very good at. Self-indulgence and immediate gratification, however, now that's her jam. And in her hedonistic nature, she'll be impulsive, sometimes to the point of being reckless. More than anything, though, she's an entitled person. She feels entitled. This is the woman who will sleep with your brother or your best friend, maybe even the best man at your wedding, and not even bat an eyelash. Never mind experience any real sense of guilt, shame, regret, or remorse. But somehow, she'll manage to turn it all around and make it all your fault. She's a real piece of work. Number 7, the female covert narcissist is a master of emotional manipulation. And how do you know you're being manipulated? Well, aside from your skin crawling and the icky feeling in your gut, there will be a pattern of her working to undermine your sense of self-worth, your confidence. She'll go out of her way to exploit your insecurities by using your disclosures, things you've shared with her in confidence, as ammunition against you. You'll often find that you're second-guessing yourself, your experience, and your perception of reality, maybe even your sanity. This is a sure sign that she's gaslighting you. She wants you confused, filled with self-doubt, and even self-loathing if she can get you there. There will also be a pattern of her actions and behaviors not matching her words. And somehow, she'll always be innocent and you'll be guilty and to blame for all of it, no matter the circumstances. Female covert narcissists are experts at doling out guilt while claiming to be the victim. They'll use guilt and shame to manipulate and control you at every opportunity. Fundamentally, she's a bully, no matter how passive-aggressive she may be in her attempts to bully you. That is the bottom line of who and what you're dealing with. Number 8 is projection. As I've already alluded to, she will project all of her own shameful behavior onto you and others. If she's cheated, she'll claim to have been cheated on. If she mistreated and/or abandoned her children, she'll be sure to tell you how her children have mistreated and/or abandoned her somehow. If she behaved like an entitled, childish ingrate and couldn't succeed in manipulating you into allowing her to have her own way, in other words, bully you into submission, she'll claim to have been bullied and abused by you. If she's lied, which she does as easily as breathing, by the way, then you'll be accused of being the liar. And on and on and on it goes. Number 9, the female covert narcissist carries a lot of rage. Under that meek, demure, timid, shy, reserved, gentle, insecure, self-effacing facade is a rageaholic. And that rageaholic can be triggered in a nanosecond. So be careful and stay safe. Now, last but not least, number 10. Female covert narcissists are masters of the dupe. Again, remember, she is a master manipulator, and therefore she is highly adept at convincing everyone what an upstanding human being she is, when in fact, the opposite is true. In other words, she may very well have a lot of people fooled, perhaps even everyone except you. And if you find yourself in this situation, please remember the quote from Gandhi. Even if you are in a minority of one, the truth is still the truth. So stand in your truth, own it. You know who you are. You know what you live. You know what you've done, and you know what you haven't done. Let that be enough, no matter who believes her nonsense. If you can get to that place, I promise you, you'll be just fine. More than fine. And with that, I'm going to call it a wrap. But don't stop now. I have well over 300 more videos right here on YouTube for you to watch to help you better understand the detrimental effects of narcissistic abuse, and more importantly, learn what you need to do now to heal from the abuse so you can start living your best life in peace, confidence, freedom, and abundance. And if you want to go deeper with me, go to TamieMCoaching.com and learn about my unique tried and true process garnered over decades of experience, and learn how you can become my client.